everybody. Good to see everyone again. So today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do an icebreaker. I know everyone's kind of seated with their friends, but it's okay. We can all get to know each other a little more. So maybe you guys can get into like smaller groups and ask each other three deeper faith-based questions. Are you guys excited? Yes. Okay, so the first question is, what's one way you've seen God move in your life recently? You guys write it down too, just so you can remember, but I'll be here to remind you guys again. And the second question is, when did your faith feel most real to you? And then last question is, what's one thing you're currently trusting God for? Oh yeah, actually, sorry. You guys can just focus on the first one, and then once you guys discuss, we can do that. So, yeah, of course. What's one way you've seen God move in your life recently? So maybe like the first two rows, you guys can be together and then just so we can.
We'll give you guys a couple minutes to discuss, and then we'll move on to the next question. Okay, guys, so we're going to move on to the next question. Next question is, just for the sake of time, what's something people are surprised to learn about you? So this could be a hobby that you like to do, some skill that you have that nobody knows about, something that you like to do that would surprise people, or it could even be something that you'd like to do on the weekends. And so try to have conversations about that question, and then we'll move on to the final question.
eşek ismini gel.
For the sake of time. So the final question is going to be, what is one quality that you would describe a good friend to you? What quality would you want a friend to have? So it's going to be tying into our series that we're moving into, but only one word, just for the sake of time. All right, discuss. So just to repeat the question. So one word or one word that would explain what you would look for in a good friend, a quality friend. I want to get you guys thinking.
right, guys, thank you for playing the game. Big hand to our lovely Fiora and Saran and Bethel. Big hand for them. Thank you so much. That's not a big hand. Give them a big hand like what he does. Show of hands. How many people were here last week? Okay, so most but not all. So what we talked about last week, who can remind me what we talked about last week? We're doing a series called The Company That You Keep. Who can remind me anything that we talked about last week? Anything at all? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future, okay? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If you show me all your friends and they're all your friends are into politics, okay, and complaining about the world and what we're upset about today, then my guess is you're probably going to be the same. All your friends are very academically oriented and getting straight A's. You're probably going to do the same. All your friends like to go out and party. I bet you you're going to probably do the same. Because in the end, we become like the people that we hang out with. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. What else did we learn last week?
About David.
About David? What about him?
He had 3 friends.
He didn't only have 3 friends. We talked about 3 of his friends.
3 of his friends.
And those 3 friends, remember, we had the 3 chairs up here. We said each of those 3 friends represents a type of friend that you need in order to be rich. Remember? We talked about how there's different kinds of riches. And we talked, actually, I got a nice quote. Give me a click there. Get to the second one. Sorry, one more. I found this quote. This quote from a guy named Dr. Richard FOL. It said, there are 2 main things on everyone's mind throughout life. Money and relationships, one of those will make you rich. We talked about how last week is that we said who wants to be rich and everyone raised their hand, but the liar people didn't raise their hand. So I said who wants to be rich and then who wants to lie. Okay, and everyone raised their hand between those 2 questions. But we said is that there's different kinds of rich. There's materially rich, which is how we usually think of. And that's not what we're talking about in this series. Because you can have a lot of material riches, but if you are poor relationally, you are not going to be satisfied with life. Would you agree with that? Like that's like everything that we see on Hollywood and on TV. The big car, the big mansion, the whole life, but a miserable existence. That's why suicide rate and depression and all those kinds, and the drugs and all that stuff. And then the inverse, I said when we go on mission trips, we go to people who are very materialistically poor, but they are relationally very rich. Friends, family, cousins, uncles, relationships around them. And that is where they can be very satisfied. And we look at them and we say, we're actually jealous of them. The reason why is because the world has tricked us into thinking that the material, that's the one. The world has tricked us in saying, get as much material as you can, get as much material as you can. And what about relational? We'll hold off on that. We'll come back to that one later. That's where the world has tricked us. And we've sacrificed this to get this, and then we achieve this, and we realize we really wish we had that. Because it's the people who have that that are truly rich in this world. And that's what we're talking about in this series. It's about relationships and how we need to be intentional about it. Because in the end, it's our relationships that determine the quality of our life. So last week, like we said, we talked about David and 3 particular friends that he had. And I said, you are just one friend away from a whole new life. Anyone remember who the 3 friends were? A Samuel, someone who makes you better. Number 2, Jonathan, someone who makes you stronger. Remember, he strengthened him in the Lord. And then number 3 was Nathan, someone who spoke the truth. And we said, you are just one friend away from a whole new life, a whole new marriage, we don't know what it may be. But maybe if you found a Samuel, your life would go from here to here. Or a Jonathan, or a Nathan, your life would go from here to here. Today I want to continue down that same path, but instead of saying one friend, I want to expand it. What I want to say today, give me a click if you don't mind, is in the same way you might be one friend away, I guarantee you that you may be one community away from a whole new life as well. We're going to talk about community. Last week we talked about individual friends. Today I want to expand a little bit and talk about community. If you go to church for any period of time in your life, you've heard every single church says that they believe in community, the importance of community, and fellowship and community and community. It's the most overused word in churches. From experience, okay, and my wife can tell you the exact same thing. From experience, I can tell you that the statement behind me on the screen about the power of community to change your life, I can tell you I've experienced. When I was first ordained as a priest, we were given advice. Of course, everyone's got advice to give, okay? I remember when I was getting ordained and we were in Egypt, okay, whatever year it was, everyone would go to my wife and be like, oh, he's gonna be a priest? Oh, did you know this? And did you know this? And people who don't know anything about anything, giving us all this kind of advice. Your life is this and this. Everyone loves to give advice. One of the advices that I got actually from another priest was don't be friends with, he used the expression, normal people. Now that you're a priest, you can't be friends with normal people. And what he meant by that is that as a priest, like he didn't say the word this way, but like don't trust lay people. Be friends with other priests, but don't ever put your guard down with people. And the reason why, I'm not judging, I'm not saying it's bad, like that's a mentality. And truthfully, maybe like other cultures, that makes sense. Because there's this idea that now that you're a priest, you have to act like a priest. You have to like guard this priestly mystique. Don't let people see this side of you. Let them see this side of you, and don't ever get too close to people. So I did it. And I didn't have any normal people friends. And I had only weird people friends. Truthfully, I didn't have many friends, and that was okay. Like, that's fine. Like, we're sacrificed and we serve God, and we don't need a social life. And my life was basically just serve, and build the church. But then I realized something. I like normal people. And in fact, I thought about it. I actually think that I am a normal person. I think that, yes, I was now a priest, and I had been a priest for X number of years, but I think I was a normal person before that. And I like normal people. I like hanging out with normal people. I like doing normal people things. I love to play sports. Basketball, tennis, pickleball, whatever it may be, like you name it. I love to play Monopoly. I love to take my wife and we go out to like Old Town Alexandria and take a walk. The one thing I don't like to do that normal people do is I don't like to go out to eat. But that's not because I'm a priest, that's just because of I think it's a waste of time and money. But walking around Old Town Alexandria, we love it. I discovered that I like being normal, and I like hanging out with normal. And in fact, I actually think that I might be one of those normal people. And then I remember I came across this verse, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. When God said to Adam, the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. And then it hit me. Not only am I normal, but I also think I am a man. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's me. That's man. Like, yes, I'm a priest, but I was a man before I was a priest, and I think I still am, okay? So priesthood didn't take away man, didn't take away normal, it just added on top of it. And what God told me, it is not good to be alone. You need friends, and you need community. And truth, that made a big difference for Marianne and I. And from that moment on, we said, you know what? We're not just going to try to be like, hey, look at me, and we're not going to be like, we're going to be normal people. And that, like I said, we like to go out. I sent you all a message on WhatsApp, a video from our vacation. Okay, and man of God shouldn't be doing that. Man of God should just be praying on vacation. We like to go to the beach on vacation, okay, because that's what normal people do. Now, again, we like to go and get a good early bird special on dinner, okay? But the point is, we're normal people, and from that moment on in time, we started to establish relationship and community with people who became our good friends and walked through life with us. Not just serving with us, not just like spiritual stuff with us, but hanging out with us, okay, and becoming close friends. And what I wrote down here is we went through hard times together. We celebrated together. We encouraged each other. We rebuked each other. We lived life together. And I'm telling you, can't tell you the difference that this community has made for me personally, for my wife, okay, and for us, and honestly for our family as well. Like our children are more normal because of it. And our children have a normal community because of the exact same decision. So what I believe is that I want that for you as well. And like I talked about last week, when I talk about godly community or godly friendships, I'm not just talking about we play basketball together. I'm not just talking about we talk politics together. I'm not talking about we gossip about one another together. I'm talking about we do things that bring us closer to God and strengthen us in our relationship with God. Acts chapter 2, verse 44 to 47. It says it this way. Okay, I'm going to read a passage here. It's like four verses, but I don't want you to focus on the specifics. I want you to get the mindset. What was the mindset of the early church in the beginning when the church, Acts 2 is when the church first started, right after Pentecost. What was the mindset of them towards community? It says, now all who believed were together, had all things in common, and sold their possessions and goods, and divided them among all as anyone had need. So continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart. Click. Praising God. Click. The clicker's not working. Okay, so click. In every culture, in every time. Oh, sorry, no, backward. Sorry, I was just saying, yeah. Praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily those who were being saved. What was the mindset of the early church versus the mindset of today? What's the biggest difference that you see in this passage? Don't get specifics, just give me mindset. What do you see is different? Does that sound like us? What's the difference? It's very obvious. But it's so obvious that you don't even want to say it. Because you think it's like outer space. But how did these people live? They lived together. They lived in, you did this, yeah. They lived together. They didn't just come to church, say their prayers, and each one go. Like, do you think they saw each other on Sunday? Then it was like, okay, I'll see you next Sunday. Well, actually, I might be gone next Sunday because I have to drive someone to the airport next Sunday, so I'll see you. Do you think that's the way it was then? Okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Do you think that's the way it was? They lived life together. Their life was part of each other's lives. And it wasn't just the nonsensical things. These people were integrated. They were doing life together. They were invested. They raised each other's kids, if they had kids. They supported each other when they were down. They knew when each other was down. They knew who was, just use Kendrick's right here. They knew when Kendrick was starting to stray a little bit to the right. They were like, hey, Kendrick, no, come back here. What are you doing over there? We left that life. They knew it with each other. They were involved in integrating each other's lives. Because as beautiful, and as important as it is to have a personal relationship with God, listen carefully to what I'm about to say. As important and as beautiful it is to have a personal relationship with God, what is more beautiful is a shared relationship with God as well. We need both. We need love Lord God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. We need love your neighbor as yourself. We need to have an individual, personal. He's my Father, but He's not just my Father, because whenever we say the Lord's Prayer, we don't say, my Father who art in heaven. We say, our Father. So we need an individual, we need a corporate. We need a private, we need a public. We need just me and my Father, and we need an us and our Father kind of relationship with God as well. And if you notice, sorry, not yet, sorry. Back one, sorry. If you noticed, it said what? The Lord added to the church daily those who are being saved. That's a strange sentence to put in there. Because the verse, 5 verses before that, were saying they were all together. They shared everything together. They had all things in common. And then it says that all of a sudden the Lord added to the church daily. That's a weird sentence. Because that should come after it said they preached. They invited people. But notice, they didn't preach. Like the Lord added to the church daily is evangelism. But they didn't evangelize. They didn't preach. So why was the Lord, where did the people come from? This is an important question. Why was the Lord adding to the church daily people who were being saved? Very important. Why? How? It's the lifestyle, the community. Because I'm telling you, what I just said, if we had that here, like if we had that, now I'm talking specific, say it's right here, us. If we had that, you would need a give me the biggest stick that you can find. You're going to have to beat people away with a stick from coming into this place. If this place was filled with people who loved each other and invested in each other and cared about each other, and we rebuked each other when we needed to, and we supported each other, and we had that community, you would need to beat people away with a stick. We'd all have to carry a stick to church and just start beating people away because there'd be so many people who'd want to come in here. We say, we can't fit you in here. But that's the way it was in the early church. Because what they had, that community, is what every single person, normal or non-normal person, yearns for and longs for in life. And believe it or not, it's not just the Bible that teaches us that. Let me give you some quotes here from some science and some research. Okay, I'll give you a few right here. Dr. Robert Waldinger, it's a great name, Dr. Robert Waldinger, who is the clinical professor of psychiatry at a little place called Harvard Medical School. You may have heard of Harvard. He said this: the surprising finding is that our relationships and how happy we are in them has a powerful influence on our health. Social connection stays with us in our bodies and helps us live longer. Loneliness kills. That's not a Christian guy saying. Loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism. That's what he says. Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstad, professor of psychology and neuroscience at BYU. Lack of social connection is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Lack of social connection is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So you want to live isolated? Okay, that's fine. That's the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day based on what she's saying. Dr. Matthew Lieberman, director of Social Cognitive Neuroscience Lab at UCLA. Our brains are wired to reach out and connect. This, quote, social brain is not a metaphor. It is a biological reality. We are designed to be in community, and when we are not, our bodies go into a state of threat. And he goes on to talk about all the negative things. One more quote, and this one's going to be up on the screen. This is from a guy named Dr. Vivek Murthy. Anyone ever heard of that? Who is? I never heard of him either, but he apparently is the 19th and 21st U.S. Surgeon General. Okay, so in recent time, he said the following. He said, in every culture, in every time, the primary way that humans have dealt with stress is through social support. We are not meant to bear our burdens alone. That's a Bible verse, but he's not a Bible guy. It's just a U.S. Surgeon General guy. Click. Our nervous systems literally calm down when we are in the presence of a trusted other. Bottom line, there's power in community. Power to heal. Power to support. Power to, Father Mooley today in the liturgy talked about peace. The peace of God comes through community. Okay, it comes from God through community to us. We all need it. And I believe that as much as God calls me individually, I believe God perfects me communally. You see the difference? God calls you individually. God calls you by name. But he perfects you communally. That's what Jesus did with all his disciples. Jesus went to a disciple and he said, Matthew, come follow me. And then when Matthew followed him, what did he do? He put him with the group. He didn't say, okay, Matthew, follow me, you go over there. Okay, oh, Thomas, you go over there. Bill, you go over there. He called them one by one, but then he connected them communally to the rest of the disciples, which is like the church today. So, what I want to talk about is how do I find this community? I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm saying it's important, it's important, it's important. How do we find it? Every church, like I said, believes in community. Everyone agrees in community. But what is community? If we sit around and watch football, is that community? Is having a prayer meeting, is that community? Is like serving the homeless, is that community? Let me ask you this question. Is church community? Is this community? No. I know you thought yes. I know it's okay. Everyone was nodding their head yes. It seemed like the right answer, okay, church. I think church provides you the opportunity for community, but I don't think it gives it to you. I think you have to do something with it. I think it's the same way of saying, like, if we all attend liturgy, does that mean we all prayed? No. Liturgy gave me the opportunity to pray, but I got to do something to pray. Like, it's not just sitting there that makes me pray. In the same way, it's not just opening a Bible means that, like, it's not like you have to do something. Just opening it isn't enough. Going to church gives you the opportunity for community. Absolutely. But you got to take a step. And I tell you how I know this. You have a church. This church, STSA church, any church. And you can find two separate people and say, tell me about the community in that church. And one person can say, that's the best community I've ever seen in my life. I found friends there, deep, and then the next person could say, that community is nothing. They don't care about anyone other than themselves. How can both be true? Because I've heard people tell me both about my church. How can both be true? How can both be true? It depends on your investment. Because yes, if you're just going to walk in, stand in the corner, leave as soon as it finishes, you're going to say, yeah, not a very friendly church. But then you're going to walk in and you're going to invest and you're going to commit and you're going to do what we talk about in these next three things right here. Then you can find what other people have found in that same place. Okay? So I want to tell you three things. I'm going to be very practical. Okay, I don't want to be theoretical today. I want to give you 3 very practical things that you can take home. And if you take these 3, and I'm going to challenge you to just, like, depending on which of the 3, you might be good at one, maybe not. So you're going to take one and invest in it, but I'm going to give you 3 options. These are the 3 things that I believe will transform your relationships, your groups, your whatever gatherings into real, authentic, Christian, biblical, Christ-based community. Ready for the 3 things? They're very simple. They're open our doors, take off our socks, and fight lions. Very simple. Open our doors. Say, open our doors. Take off our socks. And fight lions. Very practical. Let's start with number 1. Number 1, we open our doors. Open our doors. I don't like to watch TV much, but when I do watch TV, what? Oh. I like that. That's better than falling asleep, okay? So I appreciate it. Repeat after me. It's fine. Just don't fall asleep. I don't like to watch TV much, but when I watch TV, there's 2 genres that I like to watch. One is obviously sports, and the other is old school sitcoms. Old school. I don't like any of the junk. Anything that was from the year 2000 on is junk as far as I'm concerned. And I realized I just alienated myself because all of you were born after the year 2000. I don't care. Our TV, right, Susan? Okay? Fellows born in the 70s person, our TV is better objectively than your TV. We had shows like Cosby Show, and I know Cosby got a bad name, but I'm just watching a TV show. We had shows like Three's Company. Anyone know Three's Company? Anyone know that one? You know nothing if you don't know Three's Company. We had things like Family Matters. We had Full House. We had real TV shows. If you watch an old school TV show, you will notice something takes place every episode, and if you live like you were born in the 2000s, you think it's something from the moon. Every episode, people are in their house, and there would be a knock at the door. That doesn't happen anymore. But people used to knock at the door, and you wouldn't know who it was. They didn't text you. They had people just show up at your door, and it was just the neighbor. Let's go some trivia. Family Matters. Who was the neighbor? Urkel. That's an easy one. Full House. Who was the neighbor? Kimmy Gibbler. Very good. Perfect Strangers. Larry and Balky, and who were the neighbors? Jennifer and Mary Ann. Come on. Cosby Show? Theo's friend? Cockroach. Very good. Okay. All the young people are like, what in the world? You could just go YouTube it, boys and girls. TV was much better back then. My point is, people back in the day used to visit each other in their homes. And it was not weird that someone would knock on your door. Think when was the last time you knocked at someone's door without them knowing that you were coming over? I honestly was thinking, the only thing I can think of is when we used to when the kids would kick the soccer ball over the fence of the neighbor, we would knock on the door to try to get it. That's the only thing I can think of. I can't think of another time that someone just knocks the door on your house for no reason. I think that knocking on people's doors is a good thing. I think the world was better when people just showed up at each other's houses. Okay, that's actually one of the qualities that I want to say to you, is that ask yourself this. Is there anyone out there who you can just show up at their house unannounced? Is there anyone out there who can show up at your house unannounced? I know someone. Susan is my friend here. Susan's actually one of those people that we can show up at her house and she can show up at our house. Is there anyone in your life that can just show up at your house? If there isn't, you're missing. You're missing something. Is there anyone? How about this one? And I know this one right here. Is there anyone you can walk in their house and open their fridge and help yourself? Not mom or dad, obviously. Is there anyone you can just walk into your house, have a seat on the couch, turn on the TV? They can do that in your house. I remember when we were growing up, our first house, like when I was young, we didn't have a garage. We had a carport. You guys know what a carport is? Okay, a carport is basically like a covering. It's like a garage without a door. Okay, so it's like a big this. Okay, you just pulled in. Versus, what's the difference between that and a garage? In a garage, you come in, okay, you're driving in your car, your windows are up, radio's on, or phone, whatever it is. You open the garage, you see people around, you don't make eye contact, you don't want to talk to them. You go in the garage, you close the garage. Once you are sure that it is sealed, okay, and that no one can speak to me, then you get out and you go inside your house. Carport is different. Carport, you get out, and then you walk to the front door. What do you think would happen on the way to the front door? You see a neighbor mowing his lawn, playing with his kid, gardening. Hey, Bill, how's the wife and kids? Oh, great, Frank, how's that prostate doing? Oh, it's like whatever. Like, I don't know what people are talking about, but they talked. And I think the world was a better place when that happened. Acts chapter 2, verse 46 says it this way. Continuing daily, this is the early church, one accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house. One accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house. One accord in the temple, and then breaking bread from house to house. What do you think is the modern day equivalent of the temple? Church. So they met in church, but they didn't meet only in church. They also met where? House to house. We are here today in the church. Check. That's very good. That's a critical part of your life. This is not against that. But I also believe that we need the house to house part as well. And I think that's what people are yearning for. I remember when we first got married, we lived in a townhouse in Fairfax. And like everyone, like I said, we didn't talk to our neighbors because why would we talk to our neighbors? Like we just did our own thing. And then I remember I can't remember like it was me or her, but both of us together, we heard a sermon about loving your neighbor. And I remember thinking, the whole point was like, do you love your neighbor? Do you love your neighbor? Do you love your neighbor? And I thought to myself, I don't even know my neighbor. Like, it's very easy for me to say, yes, I love all of humanity, okay? But then I just sit in my house and do nothing. So we said, we're going to do something. We threw a neighborhood party. Remember the neighborhood party? We said we're going to throw a neighborhood party. And we hadn't talked to anyone in our neighborhood at the time. But we created these little flyers. We put them on people's door. And we said on this, Saturday or Sunday or whatever it was, come over to our house, pizza, hot dogs, whatever it was. I didn't know what was going to happen. I said, probably the weird people are going to come because they're weird. But we'll love them and whatever. But I remember the house on the end. Do you remember the house on the end? It was college students on the end. And I don't know how many actually lived there. There were always many going in and out. Boys and girls and everything in between and all kinds of college activities taking place in that house. And they're like 3 houses down from us. So you think the last thing they would want is a priest. Like the last thing they would care about is a priest. The college kids came over. And I'm telling you, God is my witness. Marianne knows this. We could not get rid of these college kids. I finally had to tell Marianne, stop bringing out food. That's the only way they're going to leave. They didn't want to leave. And we didn't talk about any of that funny stuff that they did. We didn't do any of that funny stuff that they're always hanging out on the deck doing. We were priests and we were just normal. But the people felt like everyone is yearning for that. Hey, I'll give you another show from when we were younger. A place where everybody knows your name. What show? Cheers. Very good. Okay? Everyone is yearning for that. A place where everyone knows your name. And those college kids, everyone is yearning for that. A community. So my question for you is, you got a place like that. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 says it this way. Let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. My challenge to you, number 1, is open our doors. Say, open our doors. Say, we open our doors. My challenge to you is to not live an isolated life. Is there anyone in your life that you can show up at their house? Anyone that can show up at your house? We need that. If we don't have that, we are lacking. Number 2, we don't just open our doors, we take off our socks. Say, we take off our socks. Okay, confession right here. Confession, this is just me. This is not in any way judging anyone. This is me. I don't like feet. I think feet are gross. I don't like to see feet. I know people like to wear the sandals and the open, that's great. Not me. Okay, I never, even when we were at the beach, okay, at most you're going to get me is the Crocs. At most you're going to get that because that still has most of the stuff covered. And I will admit, I'm one of the old guys, I wear Crocs with socks sometimes. That's how I do it, okay? I don't like feet. The only time that I will be barefoot is if I'm at home with my family. But if I'm at home with my family and I'm barefoot and then someone's coming over, first thing I'm going to do is put on my socks. And I encourage you to do that if you're coming over as well, but that's fine, whatever. But you know where I'm going with this. If we're family, if we're community, I shouldn't have to put on my socks. I can be real. Like with my family, I let them see the real me. Toes and everything. I let them see it. Well, I think we as a community need to be more take off our socks with one another. And I don't need to. Certain people, if they come over, I don't need to put on socks. Marianne can walk around with the curlers and the mud mask and whatever. I'm joking. Just joking. Just joking. My point is, I don't need to impress. I don't need to hide. I don't need to be embarrassed. It's family, community. I believe that too many of us will never find true community because we never let anyone see our bare feet. And obviously I'm speaking figuratively right now. We will struggle to find community because we will never let anyone see our true selves for fear that they won't like us or they will judge us or this image that we're trying to put up. But I'm telling you, those socks are a hindrance to you finding true community in life. Acts chapter 4, verse 32 says this. It says, now the multitude of those who believed were of one heart and one soul. Meaning, nothing hidden, nothing between them. They were vulnerable with one another. And we talked about that in the last week, and we'll continue to talk about that. That it is critical for us to be vulnerable with one another, because if all we're going to do is, okay, you know what, Father Anthony, we will spend more time together, we'll visit each other in our homes, but it's just going to be surface level. How are you? Good day, sir. How are you? Thank you so much. And then when it starts to get a little bit, let's talk about her. Yeah. Oh, did you see what she was? Oh, did you see what she? And see what he? Oh, yeah. And we just kind of keep it all out there. And as soon as it gets in here, we pivot and shift to something else. You do that for the rest of your life. You can have a million acquaintances, a million friends. You never find community. Never find community. Because you never let anyone see the real you. That it was all superficial. It was all talk about other people. It was all talk about the world or the news or the sport. And I'm all for that. I'm all for joke and laugh or whatever. But if it's only that, you're lacking. 1 John chapter 1, verse 7. It says, if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. Notice the two things that he connects. Fellowship or community is connected to walking in the light. Or in other words, being real. Taking off our socks. Not hiding. Being vulnerable with one another. And I'll prove it to you. Which do you prefer from me giving this sermon? Me to stand up here and say, okay, my name is Father Anthony. I am perfect. I live the perfect life. I have everything figured out. I am perfect. Or you prefer me to say, hey, it's the truth. Because I'm doing my best, but I got weaknesses. I got struggles. Marianne knows this. The easiest, if I ever find people are going to sleep during my sermon, the easiest way to wake everyone up is to say what? My wife and I got into an argument one time. Tell us about that. Yeah, please. Yeah. Let's take notes on that one. Yeah. That's the easiest thing. Because we gravitate towards people who are real. We don't gravitate towards robots. We don't gravitate towards perfect people. Well, it's the same. If you're trying to be perfect and you're not walking in the light, you're not vulnerable, that doesn't attract people to you. That actually pushes people away. No one wants to be with a person who is perfect. If we want real depth, we take off our socks. Something we say at STSA, okay, and our core values, okay, one of our core values is authentic community. We say it this way. We say that we believe God created the church to fulfill our relational needs in addition to our spiritual needs. We reject superficiality in relationship with one another, just as we reject superficiality in our relationship with God. We don't want this to be superficial. We don't want this to be superficial. And the two are connected. Okay? We believe that God made this. And that's my prayer here for us at SACE, that we start to build that. That God made this so we can have depth. Not just here, but here as well. And I'm going to challenge you to find that. So number one, the first action item, in order to find true community, we must open our doors. Say, open our doors. Number two, we don't just open our doors and spend time together. We take number two, and we take off our socks. Say, take off our socks. And then number three, my favorite of them all. Say, we fight against lions. What am I talking about, fight against lions? I believe this is the key to long-term sustainability and connection and community and relationship. And I did a marriage series a couple of months ago, or whenever that was, and I actually talked about the exact same thing there. I'm saying it here. It's the long-term solution to stay connected to a person is there has to be something that gives us purpose, mission. If all we do is have things in common, like I said, our politics, our sports, our common interests, then you know what we are? We're not a church. You know what we are? We're a country club. That's what a country club is. All the people who like golf, go over there. That's their community. All the people who are this political persuasion, go over there. That's not us. I never want to be the priest of a country club. Church means there's something much greater that unites us. And that something greater that unites us is our shared mission, is this mission, is that we are here on this earth, not just for ourselves. And that's what I love about this community. That's what even I was telling Marianne, that I've seen in just a few short weeks that we've been together here at SACE right here, is that it's not just the people who are saying like, what's in it for me? I hate the what's in it for me. I love the like, okay, what do you need me to do? What's my role? You need someone to buy this? I can buy this. You need someone to get there early? I can get there early. You need someone to set this up? You need someone how to figure out how to click? I can stand there and just click for you, okay? Like you tell me, that's what keeps us connected. That's our bond. It's not that we're just friends with each other. We have in fact, I think that it's actually a greater compliment to us that we don't have things in common, that we are different cultures, that we do vote differently, if you care about that stuff. That we even, I met someone from Dallas. Are you a Cowboys fan? Okay, so even that can make, like, I think that's even stronger that we can have a Cowboys guy, a Dallas guy, and a Commanders, aka God's team guy, right? But what unites us is so much greater than shared interest. I'm going to show you a little video right now, okay? This video has poor quality. You can click. It has poor quality, okay, because it's from YouTube. It's from a long time ago, but it is such a good video. I don't know if anyone loves the animals fighting each other videos. This is my favorite. So here you see a bunch of buffalo. Okay, this is somewhere in Africa, and the buffalo are marching, and who's waiting? Who do you see there? Lions, and those lions are in that crouching position. Ain't gonna be good for those buffalo. Okay, but the buffalo are just kind of walking, and all of a sudden, he catches wind of what's happening. Here come the lion. Oh, here they go. They're chasing, they're chasing, they're chasing. Now, obviously, gonna catch him. Okay, they're gonna claw at him, but they said, leave the big guy, go for the baby. They got the baby. He got the baby. Look at them. They jumped on the baby guy, and they dragged him in that water, and they are going to town on this little baby buffalo. Okay, and look, they're gnawing at him and eating, but there's one thing that these lions, they dragged him out, there's one thing that they didn't account for in their little strategy to beat up on this little buffalo, and that is what? That buffaloes, they believe in community. All right, can you see that? Can you see that? Buffaloes, that's how we roll. That's how we roll as buffaloes. Okay, these buffaloes, here comes the cavalry. All right, and they're going to circle these guys, they're going to say, what, you're picking on our little guy? You picking on a little guy? Would you get out of my face when they say to the little guy? Leave this guy alone. Watch what he do that. Boom! We're going to scare that guy away. That's right. Get off the little guy, and if not, watch what's going to happen. You start chasing. Yeah, you get away from here. And even though that's fine. Watch me do this guy right here. You don't leave my guy? Boom! He threw the guy. And chase him away. And that guy starts to run away. And everyone starts to chase and walk away. That's right. That's right. Now you got the lion running for his life. That's how we got to get him out of there. That's right. That's how we roll. Get out of here, you little guy too. You get out of here. That's how we roll as buffalo. I can watch these animals attack videos all the time. Okay, there's one with a giraffe and a lion that I could watch all day. Okay. The point is this. The point is this. Here's the point. Is the buffalo. How does buffalo roll? They roll in community. And if you're going to attack one buffalo by himself, the little guy would be gone. But because the buffalo was together, the little guy, even though they jumped on him, if you watch it's like a 20-minute video, which I can send you all the link later. The little guy lives. The little guy makes it. But he wouldn't have made it if he was by himself. But he made it because buffalo fight together. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 through 12. It says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But watch this. Think of the buffalo. Woe to him who is alone when he falls. Woe to him who's alone. That little buffalo. Woe to him who is alone. Thank God he was not alone when he fell. Woe to you if you are alone when you fall, for he has no one to help him up. Clip. Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's Christianity. Christianity is not a playground. Christianity is a battleground. And if I'm going to be in a battle, and I'm going to be in a war, I don't want to be by myself. If I'm going to walk down the street at night, I don't want to be by myself. Community means that we're not. We got each other's backs. If I see someone pick on him, you pick on him, you pick on me. And we're all together. And we see the devil trying to take this guy, we all rally around this guy. And then we see someone trying to hurt this guy, not on our watch. We buffalo. We roll like buffalo. And if you mess with one, you mess with all of us. And again, I'm not just saying in an earthly sense. I'm talking about in a spiritual sense. If we see someone walking wrong, if we see someone who needs support, if we see someone who's down and needs to be picked up, we as the buffalo, we roll together. And I'm telling you that what makes us close with community, real community, requires this shared sense of purpose. Here at SACE, let's just be very practical and very direct. We're not just here for ourselves. We're not just here because we got free time on Sundays. We're here to build something that is going to last beyond us. Okay? Y'all are young. I am old. When you get to old, you start to think of where's something going to be in a year, or 5 years, or 10 years. So you start to think that, hey, you know what? If we can be part of something now, where could this thing be in a year? Where could it be in 5 years? Where could not just our local community right here be, but where could the Ethiopian Orthodox community be? Where could the Orthodox Church beyond even the Ethiopian be? Like, where could so many lost people be? And that's why we're here. And that's what unites us. And that's what makes me love you, even if I don't even know you. And that's what makes you love me, even if you don't even know me. Because we're united together by this. And this is what bonds us. If all we cared about is, I love you, you love me, I love coffee, you love bread, that's not community. What's community is that we exist for a purpose. Acts chapter 4, verse 33 says this. The early church, they knew their purpose. It wasn't just, we like each other in common interests. It says, with great power, the apostles gave witness to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was upon them all. What united the early church, what made them so strong, was they had a shared purpose. They were gathered together to preach the gospel. They felt like they were given something. This is how I feel, this is how you feel, this is why we're here. We were given something precious. Nod your heads if you felt like you were giving something precious. Nod your heads. You felt like you received something special. Someone invested in you, someone gave you something special. Well, the reason that we're here is we want to share that. We want to share it with the world. We want to share it with the people who don't think it's relevant for their lives. We want to share it for the people. I'm telling you, I told you all this before. We want to share it with the people like me, who when I was your age, I was not in church. When I was your age, maybe not your age, when I was in my early 20s, I was not in church. Because I thought the church had nothing to do with me, and church was boring, and church was a waste of time, and church was not my language, and I didn't get the culture. So I was out there. And then someone invested in me and said, no. Church is really good. Church is the best thing. We'll do it in your language. We'll do it in your culture. We'll make it accessible for you. And here I am. And I'm thankful that someone gave that to me. Well, now it's our turn, guys. Now it's our turn to take what we have, to make it accessible to the whole wide world. Father Mooley was talking about earlier about how the language thing, about how they received the Holy Spirit, and then they went and shared it in the language of the people. They went and shared it in the language of the people. That's what we're doing here. God brought us together to do something great for him. And I'm telling you, if you're on board with that, I don't even know you, but you're my brother, and you're my sister, and I will fight for you. And I will do whatever I can to protect you and take care of you. If that's your mission, we're together. Because when it comes to community, we need to do three things. Number one, we need to open our doors. We need to? Number two, we don't just open our doors, we need to take off our socks. We need to take off our socks. But then most important of all, we need to fight some lions. We need to fight some lions. And we're going to be the biggest, fattest water buffalo there is community on the planet. And we're going to circle around each other, and we're going to fight the bad guys. And I'm telling you, you don't know the difference this will make for you and for community around you. Last slide. Just like I asked you this last week, what difference might that kind of community make for you? What difference might that kind of community make for you in your life? if you had people that your house is their house, if you had people, no socks, no mask, we're vulnerable to one another. And then number 3, that we gather together, not just for entertainment, but we gather together to do something meaningful for the kingdom of God. That kind of community, if you had that, what difference could that make in your life? I'm telling you, personal relationship with God is the best thing. But the communal relationship with God is even better. When I take the personal, and then I add it, and I embody it inside a body and a community, that's where it goes from sweet to sweeter to sweetest. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're trying to talk about right here. That's my challenge for you. Open our doors, take off our socks, and we fight against some lions. Sound good? Okay. We can invite Father Mooley up here if you'd like to close this in prayer. Or right here.
Thank you so much, Father. So when he was talking about fighting the roaring lions, what verse comes to your mind? You remember the verse which St. Peter wrote in his epistles? This is what he said. It's a great, just message, and it aligns with Peter. So this is what said. The roaring lion, who is Satan or the devil, is roaring around you, seeking for someone to eat or beat up. So always that lion is roaring. So as Father said, we have to roll our sleeves and get ready to fight. How do we fight it? With the prayer. So thank you so much, Father, for bringing this up and how energetic it is. How just that, bring us together and cement us together to be united, to fight against Satan through prayers, fasting, through the words, and with all good things. So please give a big applause for Father Anthony. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And it's a great lesson from the buffalo I learned. I'm scared of buffaloes. Yeah, one time I went to Maine, a state of Maine for work. And when we were driving, we saw like big buffaloes, and we don't have any place to hide. We just paused in the middle of the road. Luckily, they just passed us. Otherwise we had been, just beaten up like the lions here. It's great. It's great to have every one of you here, and it's a blessing. I love serving God. I tell you this. I love from the bottom of my heart, of all the things God has given me, serving Him is the greatest appreciation I give to Him. Because while we are unworthy and sinful, He just cleanses us and makes us worthy. How beautiful He is. Is not beautiful? Who is cleansed from, just from inception to this point? No. We all commit sins. We all go in the wrong direction. We all deal with Satan and, just bad people. But God never abandoned us. Rather, He called us, He hugged us, He cleansed us, and make us worthy. Think of your friends and people who are struggling at this point, just to be spiritual. By the way, naturally, everybody wants to be good. Everybody wants to be spiritual. It's all about capability, ability to be spiritual. That is where the difference is. Nobody wants to be called bad. No one in the world. But the problem is, we don't have the courage to take the steps to get to this point or to God. See, so you get the initiative, you stepped up, you came here, God blessed you throughout your life, and He will keep blessing us. Believe me, I believe it, 100% with that, no doubt. So whenever we do virtues, whenever we do good stuff, God is always blessing us. The peace we have inside is the greatest gift God has given us. How many people are suffering just, without having this peace? So it's a blessing to have a blessing to have Father Anthony, and Marianne and STSA team, everybody, all of you guys who are serving God. It's amazing. It's so amazing. But the reward is in the hand of God, and He will reward you. So you will never lose any dime. Whatever you put, the energy, the time, everything you put in this service, you'll get paid back. So, you know ROI, right? Return on investment. Who's a finance guy? Let me. ROI. So we are just doing ROI, right? Okay, we got ROI when he comes back. So we have to increase the ROI rate. You know, to increase the ROI rate, not only just, choosing the investment companies, but also putting more in it, right? So more energy, more talent, more heart, and the ROI will just skyrocket. God bless you all. As I said earlier, we had May 31st, the Pentecost ceremony. It starts at 3 p.m. It's gonna be very amazing. We usually do it on a yearly basis. Now it's gonna be changed a little bit. Well, not a little bit, significantly. So be ready for that and tell other people, share the information. And another thing is the nativity of the Theotokos. We're going to commemorate that next Saturday. So in the morning we'll have a prayer liturgy, and in the evening we'll have just the outside dining, just a barbecue kind of thing. So please join us, and we'll be blessed, by the Theotokos. And we have to remember her, in the prayer of, in the liturgy. The author, he just, says, you are the basis for our salvation. The reason why he says that you are the base for our salvation, because God has retained a seed, as Isaiah told us. He retained a seed that was not touched by the original seed, because he wanted her to be his places to incarnate. So she's a chosen one. She's, just right next to God, just below God. So we celebrate and we commemorate and we respect our mother Theotokos, the Theotokos. So we're going to celebrate that next Saturday. These are the two announcements I would like just to stress on. We're going to just go to the final prayer, and Father Anthony will conduct the final prayer.
We can stand up to pray. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, God, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for bringing us here this day and inviting us to be part of your body. None of us is worthy, Lord. Thank you for calling us from the farthest corner of the earth, Lord, to be here, and all that you and so many others have invested in us, Lord. Please help us to not take it in a selfish way, Lord, but to be invested in one another, to build true community here at SACE, Lord, and that it would really be a light to the world in the same way you added to the church daily those who are being saved. I pray that you would do that here in this church and in all your churches all over the world. We pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, with the intercessions of St. Mary and the prayers of all of your saints. Hear us as we pray together thankfully and say, Our Father, who art in heaven,